Let's take a look at how to simplify square roots, and then we're going to also simplify cube roots. Okay. You know that you're going to square root it when there's no small number there. So there's no small number there either. Unlike the examples I'm about to show you where there's little threes there. If there's little threes, that means you have to do a cube root. Those threes are called, those are where the index number is. Okay. So in the last video, I told you what buttons that you needed to press in order to simplify the following. So here we're simplifying the square root of 324. So square root means that we're pressing the button second x squared, and then we're typing the number 324. So second x squared 324. And that gives me an answer of 18. So that radical simplified is 18. That would be my answer. Okay. If we look over here, notice how there's the plus or the positive and negative sign outside the radical. You do not put the positive negative that is outside the radical into your calculator. Okay, all that really does is drop down into your answer. So my answer is going to have a positive and negative sign as well. Okay, now once again, let's type this into our calculator, hitting the same buttons. Second x squared 529 equals 23. So plus or minus 23 would be my final answer. That technically means that you have two answers. Positive 23 is your answer and negative 23 is your answer. However, we like to shorten it and write it together as plus or minus 23. Okay. Looking at the cube roots, okay, like I said before, you know that there's a cube root when you have an index number of 3. Okay. You have to type the button 3 in order to account for that index number. The second button, the caret button, and the number 1728. Once again, there's a negative sign that's on the outside of your radical bar. You do not put that in your calculator. That just becomes part of your answer. So here we go, plugging it into our calculator. We have 3 second caret 1728 equals 12. So remember, we accounted for that negative sign. Negative 12 would be my final answer. In this fourth example here, we're doing the cube root of negative 343. Now, remember, in class, I did say that you can take cube roots of negative numbers. So do not just jump to conclusions and say that it's no solution. Okay. So here we go. We're going to type in order to account for my index number, 3 second caret negative 343 equals negative 7. So my final answer here is going to be negative 7. Okay. And then I have one last example here, letter E, is the square root of negative 25. So remember, this is just square rooting because there is no index number there. And we could just plug it into our calculators. Second x squared negative 25 equals. Notice how there's a domain error. When you get a domain error, your solution would actually be no solution. Remember, there's no number times itself that will give me a negative number. Okay, do not write domain error in your calculator. Please convert that to no solution.